Okay, recording. Hi there. I'm Shawn Cotter. I'm with the Shenandoah Film Collaborative, and I'm with Arnaud Delecrin, who is part of I Am Robert. You did the camera work for I Am Robert?
I did the sound work.
The
Yeah,
sound?
yeah. But I was co-director in the movie. We were like three people: me, Rockbrenner, and Stefan, which was the lead actor of the mockumentary.
Who played Robert?
Yeah, plays Robert. Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about how this project. Great for those who are out there who are watching us. I Am Robert is a mockumentary about we'll say a street vigilante
Yeah,
who
kind of. Yeah.
is who wants to change his neighborhood for the better, and who sees that the bars and the public of the neighborhood that he lives in is sort of declining because there's noisy, people are throwing up, that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. So maybe tell me a little bit about how the project sort of came about.
At first, we started like 4 years ago. We had an idea with this project. We were supposed to film a short film. It was about like 4 minutes long, and we shot the first scene with Robert, and we ended up with like 40 minutes of good rushes. And we say, "Oh man, that's really good. We cannot like cut it to 4 minutes, and then we we didn't stop filming like for 2 years for this movie, and we ended up with like I think the first cut of the movie was like 2 hour long, and then we had to cut it down to 1 hour and a half, and then we say, oh, we got a full length movie. So yeah, we that's how it ended, like,
That's great.
and,
So how was the sort of where did the idea come from?
oh, the idea came from because in our town in Strasbourg, France, we had like we had some people who were really like Robert. They were like posting videos on YouTube about people shouting in the streets, being drunk and puking everywhere. They were like really taking pictures of puke, and so we said, "Wow, that's really good material, to write a character." And then we wanted to do like mock them, but being nice and not being really mean to them because they're real people. And then we wrote this character, and we talked about it with Stefan, who said, yeah, it's like this character is like me 70% of the time, so yeah, I could play it like, yeah. So, and we really shot the first interview. We said, yeah, we got something here, like this guy is kind of good, kind of funny, but kind of horrible at the same time. So we said, yeah, that's a good start. So, yeah, basically we're inspired by real events.
One of the funniest things that I kind of took from, the whole film is funny to me.
I think.
But like one of the kind of the things that like really stuck out of me, and I was just kind of like amazed by it, was the wall of vomit pictures.
Yeah.
Now, where did you source those? Because I couldn't even imagine like conceptualizing a whole wall
Uh,
of that.
Actually, yeah, we that's one of the first scene we shot for the movie, and I was with Rock, and we were drunk, and we had this idea of what does these people do in their free time, and say, oh, maybe they like to take pictures of us, and we just imagined like the guy having his wall full of puke pictures, and said, yeah, what could be funny? Like, yeah, I could name them with famous. Yeah, that's yeah. I don't really know the main inspiration, but yeah, we were kind of drunk when we wrote that scene. Like.
One of the other things I really liked about your film is that even though it's a mockumentary, so it's a comedy, but it also has a lot of heart. Like you don't take a position either way in many ways. So you do sort of let Robert sort of like talk about his sort of perspective, but you also bring in a lot of other perspectives. What was the sort of the reasoning for that? Because I mean, you could have gone real, like true, like you know, Christopher Guest
Yeah,
style
that
mockumentary,
was
like, and being
inspiration.
very pointed. But
We were really inspired by Christopher Guest for like not judging the guy we were shooting, like being really neutral, you know, in the eyes of the camera, and just let him talk, let him speak what he thinks, and don't judge it. So, and yeah, so that was the main thing, because we didn't want it to be too scripted, and so we let our main actor improvise all the scenes where we just had a few lines really scripted and say, we are here, so we are gonna get here, but in the meantime you do whatever you want, whatever you feel you want to say. And that's the part we wanted the movie to feel really, you know, natural, like realistic, like because at first when we presented the movie in France, we didn't said that it was a mockumentary, you know. And
right.
some people really believe Robert exists at this time, you know, and they still, some people still believe it, and they say, oh yeah, some people say, yeah, that's cool what he does, and sort of what the fuck is this guy, you know. So yeah, that was part of the stuff, but then everybody knows that now it's a mockumentary. But yeah, that's
But I
the
mean, it does. I mean, it definitely sells that sort of that character in many ways because we all know that curmudgeon
yeah.
in our lives.
We all have a friend like Robert who said like, ah, he's kind of annoying, but it's a friend. And yeah, you know, like, yeah. We always
um,
have a Robert in our life, you know.
so his stuff was improvised. Was all the sort of characters improvised, or was that more scripted as well? Like the other kind of the other point of view, because there's also like that scene with the guy with the cupcakes
Yeah,
in a BB gun, or I guess it was.
yeah,
Um,
because at first we wanted to make like really feel like it's a documentary, you know, with real people have different views on that, and then Robert will be the main storyline, you know.
mhm.
And we had some ideas and some well scripted, like yeah, the cupcakes, because Rock saw these on YouTube and said, yeah, we gotta put this in this thing. And yeah, but most of the part uh, we kind of filmed the whole film in 2 years, and then we had this idea and say, oh, there's this part missing, so we should do this and this. So yeah, it's kind of a 2 year work of writing the whole script. You know, we already had the end and the beginning, but the all the scenes in the middle were like filmed in 2 years. Yeah.
Nice. One of my other favorite parts of the film is the dinner with Robert's friends.
Yeah. That's my favorite too, you know.
I mean, I was like, I mean, that was such a like a high point of the sort of the comedy, and also kind of it was. I mean, it was everything you wanted in a sort of like a dinner scene because it was uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It was accusatory. I also really loved the sort of like breaking of the fourth wall too, where you went to the bathroom and you had
Yeah.
your mic on.
Yeah.
Too. And you didn't really hear, you heard like muffle conversation through the wall, but then all you heard was like the toilet and that
Yeah.
kind of stuff, and it was really hilarious. And then it just got like after that the dinner party just kind of like spiraled downwards.
Yeah. Yeah.
uh,
Actually, yeah, we hardly scripted that scene, but like we filmed it like in real time with all the interviews and stuff. That
mhm.
this We were really drunk during the shooting of this scene because we were really drinking wine all the time. But we yeah we only had like two poses on the whole scene. So when we were finished, we were like drunk and we went home and we seen all the rushes, like we were 40 minutes or 1 hour, and say, wow, what did we do? It's just, yeah, that's so cool, because all the actors, there are actors in this scene,
Mhm.
but we only give them their backstory. We didn't, we just we didn't say anything. What do you have to talk about? It was all improvisation, you know.
Wow, that's amazing. I mean,
Yeah,
they all like that was great because they all really sold those connections too.
yeah,
And I love the wife. Like she was just like
yeah,
she was really great. And I feel like she was like the sort of the linchpin of this of that scene is because she sort of like kept the sort of the threads between everyone going, which was kind of nice. And the daughter was really great too because she was sort of
yeah.
fighting for
But the
that.
good thing is that Rock knew these actors, and he kind of selected them with their own backstory and said, yeah, that they maybe it kind of resonates with their own story as a human being, and they will go on improvisation about what they know, and that's what makes the scenes so real, you know, because they're really talking about them in the end, you know.
I mean, like I said, it was really it was wonderful, and it's a great kind of center too. And it's funny too because what it does is it also sort of is this nice transition to
Yeah,
from the beginning to like the end because then you guys go to the fair, and it seems like Robert is sort of melting a little
yeah.
bit, which is kind of good, but then it like sort of just even spirals further, which is kind of like unexpected. And the ending was like I'm not gonna give the ending away to anybody who hasn't watched it out
Yeah.
there. And I do encourage everyone to watch it in the program.
Mm.
The ending was very like a big surprise, and I was kind of glad for it too because it sort you saw as the sort of as that ending sort of approached, you saw that sort of frustration, you saw the wall sort of like
Yeah.
be hit. And
It's because yeah, we didn't want it to just make a mean character, you know, to the end, like, oh, I really hate him. We kind of wanted to show that it's also a human being, and you feel kind of some pity with him, and say, oh, maybe yeah, that's a shame. He shouldn't, yeah, be treated like that, or not. He's just trying to be understood, you know, like.
yeah, I mean, I feel like that you guys really got that across too, which is what also was really kind of appreciative because you could have done, I mean, you could have played the comedy very straight and could have made him very not
Yeah,
likable, but he is kind of a likable at the end. I mean, likable at the at the end because you did
early,
show
yeah.
this sort of humanity with the past relationship with I don't know if it's ex-wife or
Yeah,
ex-girlfriend or whatever, um and that that kind of like and how he sort of sees the world too is very kind of interesting. So where else is the film show? Tell me a little bit about the sort of the track. I know it's a couple years old. Have you had a lot of screenings for it or
yeah, we had the premiere at our town in Strasbourg in France, and we had a sold out night, which was really cool because we didn't made a lot of advertising and stuff, and people from the town really liked it because they could recognize all the places they've been and the story behind, because it was kind of you know, a subject which talked to them because it was in the news also about these guys ranting about the nightlife of Strasbourg. And there was like a debate, you know, between two kind of people in Strasbourg about this kind of people, you know. And we, after this, we had a lot of screening in bars because they were touched by the topic, you know, of the movie about the nightlife and the, you know, the repression of the police and stuff, like from the neighbors and stuff like this. And but we didn't had a lot of opportunities to show it in a lot of theaters. Only in Brussels, in Belgium, and we had one night in Paris and in a few other towns in France. Yeah,
I mean,
and we hit some a major festival in Toulouse in France also, but only a few, you know, in the United States or other countries. Actually, because the scene of the, you know, the puke walls, you know, the pictures with the puke,
right.
was at first we did it like a short film, and
Hmm.
we sent it all over the world, and we had an amazing response, and we showed it like in a lot of countries. so it was sort of a teasing of the movie. And then some people were remembered the short film and wanted to see the full movie, so yeah, we had a good response on the movie.
That's
But
great.
yeah.
So what's next for you? Are you and Rock still working together? Are you working on your own stuff?
Actually, we worked on a project together, like, because the film went out 2 years ago,
Hmm.
and then we went on a project together, but we had to stop because we had a producer, but the company went out of money, so we had to bail out for this project. And then, yeah, we went on our personal projects, and then I think he's still working on the movies and how can I say, the movie scene in Strasbourg.
Hmm.
And same for me. I try to make short films, and I'm still working in music. So
Nice. So yeah, where can we find your music and maybe see some of your shorts?
actually, I don't think my shorts are on. I've played in a short from Rock, which is in some festival, which is called A Good Friend, and I think it's on the Rock Brenner website.
Okay,
You can see it. I'm more of an actor nowadays, for short films,
that's fine.
and yeah. And for my music, I've got a project which is called Motel Odessa, which you can find only on YouTube for now because I'm still working on it. So you
Cool.
can check it out.
Works in progress is always good.
Yeah.
As long as you're working. So how did you find? I mean, since we're in the middle of the sort of the pandemic, how do you find the sort of the pandemic? Is it like as an artist? Do you find it inspirational? Do you find it overwhelming? Is it like there's I feel like there's two camps to kind of like it's either paralysis or inspiration. Where do you kind of see yourself in that?
I've been on the two sides. At first you're really overwhelmed, like, oh my god, what I'm gonna do. Then you're like, we were quarantined in France, so we had no choice but being at home and work on projects, by our own. So yeah, I was kind of inspired at the time to make. I was more into music for myself, but I had some ideas and wrote it down for forthcoming short films. But yeah, it's like you only work to for the next event after the quarantine, like for the future, right?
Right.
So because you can do it with your friends and in the independent cinema, because yeah, you all your friends are at home too, so they cannot really. There's a lot of authorization to have to film, so that's kind of complicated. But yeah, that's for myself. It's like, yeah, it's both sides, overwhelming and kind of inspiring because you have to rethink the way you are gonna do all your art project.
Yeah, I feel like I'm definitely feel like in the same place that at first it was super overwhelming, but actually I feel like I'm inspired because it really changed the way I've approached things, and
Yeah,
I feel like that's a great. It's not I don't want to even count it as blessings because the pandemic is horrible and the amount of people that have perished to it is it's shocking and appalling, but at the same time I feel like we're gonna be feeling these effects for a really long time.
yeah.
So I guess my last question for you is, as an artist, here at Shenandoah Film Collaborative, we have we try to outreach and to promote young filmmakers and filmmaking and that sort of process. What kind of advice do you have for the sort of next generation coming up who are thinking about making, sort of embarking on a project? Um,
One thing to say, yeah, believe in your project. Go for it. Don't think about, I can do it. I can. There's always a way to create something. And even if you can't go out to play your movies in theaters or make your music in venues and stuff, the there will be some other way to do it, like you can work on video and post it on YouTube, um, it's not like it shouldn't be so overwhelming that, and we can find a way, to work this out and find new ways to promote art and films. And so, yeah, for you gotta keep shooting your movies and making art and music and stuff. Yeah.
It kind of amazes me how many people use their phones to make films
Yeah.
now, and it's kind of like it's kind of cool. Like it's
One
kind of
of
like
my
almost like a
projects, actually, I'm trying to make a short film with an iPhone too. I've been buying, like, maybe it's the next thing, because yeah, we
Mhm.
used to have little cameras and now iPhones are everywhere. But
Yep.
like, oh, I want to be a big director, so I have to get a big camera. But
Right.
no, not necessarily. Like Steven Soderbergh do it with iPhones, so we can do it too.
Yeah, and I kind of think of like it reminds me like everyone shooting on their phone kind of reminds me of like in the 60s and 70s when it was like 8mm, super 8mm, that kind of stuff. That was the sort of accessible sort of market. Also in the 80s with home video, people shot a lot
Yeah.
too, and I'm encouraged by this.
Yeah.
So
I shot my first movie with a DV camera. Now the quality is horrible, but it was my first film. It's still good, when I think about it.
it's gonna be retro looking in like 10 years, so don't
Yeah, yeah,
ever worry about it.
yeah. You can label it like, oh, it was mumblecore, like.
I mean, there's like filters that make things look like that now. So
Yeah.
I always fall in love with like when I see things that are actually archival, shot like Super 8 or
Yeah,
even VHS. But it makes me laugh when I always see the like because you can tell a filter,
yeah.
you can spot it. Um, so, um, I don't have any other questions for you, but I do appreciate your time for joining me for this conversation, and we are really excited to have I Am Robert as part of our first French virtual film festival, the Shenandoah Film Collaborative. Arnaud, thank you so much for joining us,
Thank you
and
for
everyone.
having me. So thank you for having me and for showing our film in your festival. We're very thankful for it to have a life on festivals, and for as much as possible people to see it. Even if they don't like it, or if they like it.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
think they like
exactly. And so I encourage everyone to, if you haven't seen it, go see I Am Robert. It's available now until the 31st of January on Zerb TV. Go to shenfilms.org to get a link to buy a ticket. And again, thank you so much.
Thank
Um,
you.